Welcome to a Sentinel review of Horizon Forbidden West from Guerrilla Games. Warning, this review will have many spoilers. Horizon Forbidden West is the biggest PlayStation 5 exclusive that came out in early 2022. It is the sequel to Horizon Zero Dawn game released in 2017. It is an action role-playing game made by Guerrilla Games, now under the PlayStation Studios banner. Personally, this is one of my highly anticipated games for the year, but the question is, will this game disappoint or not? To be honest, my expectations are sky high. Aloy returns and her story resumes in the Forbidden West. She is the main character of the game and she is an awesome character. She is a clone of Elizabeth Sobek, a scientist whose efforts were to re-establish the world after a global disaster occurred in the past. Aloy is now the main heroine and her mission is to save the world from unknown forces that are revealed in this game. In order for Aloy to accomplish her mission, she must now venture into the Forbidden West. Aloy must obtain the program Gaia and the other sub-functions to terraform the world after the global disaster caused by the machines of Ted Pharaoh. In the first game, we already saw the world ended and Gaia was activated to restore the world. For some reason, the restoration was disrupted by a sub-function called Hades. Hades was activated by another entity and began to destroy the world, but Aloy was able to prevent it. Aloy is now guided by unexpected people to obtain the other sub-functions of Gaia to complete her mission of restoring the world. The locations of this game compared to the first Horizon game are much better and more diverse. No longer are we restricted to mountains and acres of land. Now we see beaches, casinos, bunkers, and even go underwater for the first time in the series. For each location, it is mostly the same game mechanics. You will go to every location, speak to its local people, and obtain new missions and side quests. You will also gather more resources, weapons, armor, information, and many more. Locations will be loaded with save points in the form of campfires. Campfires will enable Aloy to fast travel to spots that are too far. I would say the gameplay of Forbidden West is very solid and satisfying to play. Aloy's movements, in my opinion, is very similar to the Uncharted series by Naughty Dog. How she runs, climbs, and moves stealthily is similar to Nathan Drake. Of course, it isn't a total copy, but it is similar. Aloy has two new abilities, gliding and swimming. Underwater exploration is a major component of Aloy's exploration, especially towards the second half of the game. This is made possible when Aloy gets the diving mask item. Vital parts of the game can only be unlocked once the ability to go underwater is achieved. More and more treasures can be obtained underwater. Kudos to Guerrilla Games for successfully implementing the water exploration component. It is so well done in the tomb of Ted Pharaoh and the desert casino location. Gliding, on the other hand, is a bit harder to control and manage. To glide, Aloy needs the shield wing. You will feel the heft of the character and it is hard to maneuver while gliding and landing on certain spots. Still, gliding down the high areas will give a spectacular view of the location, something that can be easily appreciated after moving mostly on foot. For the battle system, Aloy has the ability to use and craft weapons, gear, and traps. Aloy must gather the needed items to be able to craft these items. Aloy must go to a workbench to upgrade her numerous weapons and armors. For the armor, you are given the choice to select the look or appearance of one armor while having the attributes of another armor. Of course, after you complete a main mission or side quest, you will be rewarded and enable you to upgrade your stats. For me, I treated some of the side quests as my main mission, though I did not try to do all the side quests as there are too many. I knew I needed the rewards of some of the side quests to make the game more beatable. One of the most challenging side quests is the capturing of the enemy strongholds. This part reminds me so much of Metal Gear 5. You need to defeat all the machines and rebels to complete this kind of side quest. Aloy still has her focus scanner, giving her the ability to check on her enemies' weaknesses and stats, and scan places for any usable items. One minigame is called Machine Strike, but I never focused on it and I was able to complete the game. Another game is the melee pit challenge, but again, it wasn't my focus, pun intended. These mini-games are completely optional. Like in the first Horizon game, there are a lot of puzzles like capturing the drones that unlock secret images. Aloy must explore houses and structures to obtain valuables using her focus scanner. Her focus scanner also can trace where people have gone to, even after some time has already elapsed. This is another rare puzzle, though I did not fully understand how to solve it. The latest game mechanic added is the ability to override and fly Sunwings. This allows the player to travel to almost any point in the game, but this comes near the end of the game. We know that a video game is all about gameplay, but how much can graphics alone give you? In the case of Forbidden West, this game has plenty of graphics to offer. The graphics of the game are simply second to none. That is simply saying much, as the level of graphics performance in the video game industry is really high. It is amazing that Guerrilla Games have managed to raise the bar for graphics with their Decima engine. It is rare that a proprietary game engine is still being used. Most developers opted for Unreal Engine 4 or something universal. Guerrilla Games really pulled off this graphical feat, fully optimizing the game for PlayStation 5. The PS5 version will offer you a performance or resolution mode. I went with performance mode for 60 FPS and played on a 4K Sony TV. Of course, we all know Aloy herself looks very well designed, as she is the main character. However, the game's graphics are highlighted by two things: the mechanical beast and the world itself. Both are so well made and it justifies the $70 price tag. The beasts are so well animated, much better than their human counterparts. You will see a lot of new and returning beasts, some big and some small. Curiously, we see a lot of prehistoric beasts and dinosaurs in the game. There are plenty of machines in land, sea, and air. Each spot you go, there will be a unique machine there. All these beasts serve as a visual highlight. It is one thing to see a picture of these machines and another thing to see how these machines move. The movements are very lifelike. You will forget that they are machines. The game does not skimp on the number of beasts. It is easily above 40. The battles with these bosses are epic and grand. I find it more fun battling a boss when your stats aren't that high. The other star of the game is the world itself. Guerrilla Games implemented a full day and night cycle for their locations, so we get to see what a location looks like at different times of the day. The weather is also incredible. We get snowy weather, a tornado, rainy weather, sunny weather, windy weather, and so on. Each landscape is so unique and so well crafted. I recall a time when other developers have great challenges in creating a fully 3D world due to time and weather. We get to see diverse types of landscapes, and yet these landscapes are consistently part of one world. Guerrilla Games is a master in 3D world crafting, such that Hideo Kojima borrowed their Decima engine to create Death Stranding. My favorite locations are the deserted casinos, the California stage, and the tomb of Ted Faro. The casinos in the desert of Las Vegas for some reason reminded me of the Sanubia Desert in Final Fantasy X, but Guerrilla Games made it much bigger with huge buildings and a wider area. Going underground and exploring the flooded casinos, it was a visual treat. The underground is huge and is occupied by underwater beasts. This location is really special and one of a kind. The California location is a bit problematic for the PS5 as there are stutters in the game. It sounds like a PS5 Pro is needed to handle the massive California stage. Still, the design and effort put in this location is insane. It is so good looking you won't believe you are still playing a video game. In this location, there is an inoperable tall neck. The tall neck still remains as the best and most original creation of Guerrilla Games. It is a sight to behold seeing this machine walk in a circular pattern. It is always gratifying to capture a tall neck and see the view from the top. The California location is so detailed and beautiful. The tomb of Ted Faro highlights the underwater element of this game. The tomb also shows the creativity in showing the bunker and grave of Ted Faro. The map is so well done, and perhaps it is the best map I have seen in video games. Each spot is well labeled and completely outlines where you need to go. The map also animates very well when you use it. It puts the other maps in games to shame. With these kinds of graphics, I would recommend just playing the game and exploring the world. You don't need to complete the game, you just need to explore a good chunk of it. For me, the main villains introduced midway through the game are not impressive at all. The names of the Far Zenith are very forgettable, like Gerard and Eric. That includes Tilda, who was a lover of Elizabeth Sobek, but we don't know for sure. Tilda could be lying to Aloy, and Elizabeth Sobek has never mentioned anything about Tilda. If I could make a suggestion to Guerrilla Games, we need to see the development of the other characters, especially the main villains. We needed to see what kind of people they were before leaving the Earth, how they plan to escape Earth, and how they live on the far side of the galaxy, and how they created the new artificial intelligence that is now threatening them and the world. Also, I would rename the main villains. Gerard would be Nero, Eric would be Napoleon, and Tilda would be Bloody Mary, for example. You could notice how few their scenes were, and they normally involve a battle or fight scene that resulted in their impactless deaths. There was a major battle between Chief Hekarro and Regala. Both of them are major supporting characters. Regala is voiced by Angela Bassett, a respected actress in Hollywood. But for some reason, I could not see why this battle is important as I was playing the game. There was no impact whatsoever. I mean, the action is very good. Playing it was more than fine, but the story doesn't hook me. I was playing this major battle just so I could get to the ending. It was more of an obstacle than anything else. Generally, I could not get behind most supporting characters. We have a supporting character who lost his arm in battle and then later regained it. We have another character who died fighting the main villains. It turns out his lover is pregnant. We then have a character who is totally insane, that she remains emotionless even when her leader orders her death. We have numerous locals that have disputes and need Aloy to settle it for them. We have a clone of Aloy who keeps freaking out. Not to sound mean, but I simply could not care enough for the plight of the supporting characters. Their stories, battles, struggles, and what have you does not pique my interest at all. When playing this game, all I wanted to do was fight the robotic beasts, upgrade my stats, pick the right weapon, solve the next puzzle area, and so on. I was more interested in the people before the Pharaoh plague like Elizabeth Sobek and Ted Pharaoh. Silence is the rare character, and you want to know what he's really up to. He was initially perceived as a villain in Zero Dawn, but Forbidden West shows more about him and why he acted the way he did. In playing the first two Horizon games, my interest was mostly in the past events and what will happen to the world in the future. Guerrilla Games need to improve the story of the series. In the first game, it was a rogue artificial intelligence causing problems. The same thing happened with Forbidden West, and it looks like by the third game, an enhanced rogue artificial intelligence will cause havoc again. It reminds me of the first 3 seasons of the Flash television series. The main villain was always an evil speedster. As for the Far Zenith, they were capable of living for a very long time, and then they decided to expand their consciousness to artificial intelligence. They created their own doom when their AI versions rebelled against them and started chasing after them for their neglect. It all seems so vague and needs fleshing out. Weirdly, the Far Zenith did not have a version of Gaia and her subsystems before they left. It seems the Far Zenith is far from brilliant, and they keep making more fatal mistakes. The version I use is version 1.16, and most flaws are already fixed or removed. Early buyers of Forbidden West have to endure the graphical bugs, but this has been fixed by version 1.6. In my playthrough, I encountered one side quest that could not be completed and was broken. I tried to reload the game, come back, and talk to the characters after the side quest was completed to no avail. Overall, this bug did not ruin the entire experience. Other bugs are minor like this goat video bombing the side quest. I will definitely buy the third Horizon game, as I am curious how it will all end. Nemesis will be the boss this time around, and the sub-function Hephaestus will even be more dangerous. I am curious if there will be more twists in the story for the series, but the high-end graphics of the game will be a given. Forbidden West is not a perfect game, but visually very few games come close to it. The graphics do so much with the areas and the weather. It really needs to be seen and played, as other games have difficulty presenting the environment as well as Forbidden West. All of the mechanical beasts are well designed and animate so smoothly. From the smallest creature to the behemoths, all of them are state of the art, and other game studios do not animate them as well as Guerrilla Games. It is obvious that Guerrilla Games took their time in designing their world and the creatures and characters in it. Guerrilla Games need to be careful though, as the story element of this game needs improvement. The challenge is to make their supporting characters interesting and have a main villain as good as the main character Aloy. I would recommend not paying any attention to any negativity towards this game. A lot of people compared the Horizon series to Zelda Breath of the Wild and Elden Ring, and they say Horizon pales in comparison. But then again, how many games out there can top Breath of the Wild and Elden Ring? Horizon Forbidden West has a lot to offer, and it is a visual showcase for your PS5. To me, its graphics outperform even God of War Ragnarok. It is a true PS5 game and a true open world game. Its gameplay and mechanics are pretty good as well. But like I mentioned, the story and most characters are not captivating and cannot hold my interest for long, save for a few characters. Still, buying this game is an easy choice for me as I was waiting for this game to be released. I knew the strengths of this game even before playing it. Do not let any detractors convince you not to try this game. Exploring this huge Horizon world and battling its mechanical beasts is worth the time and price of admission.